outside the window. Like either people walking by or like cars or something, or just something happening outside that would motivate the room going dark. When that moment happens,
Okay.
it could add like a dynamism to your shot.
Okay.
And it like feel really nice when like that happens, and you just get that uplighting. The other thing I was going to say is I think you can like the fill overall needs to kind of come up.
Okay.
You can do things like you have a fog in here right now.
No, it's just some spotlights and that's it. There's no fog or anything in there.
Yeah, so I think like you can add like a fog coming in. It'll make it like kind of moody in there, and I think you need some shaping on the left side of the character. Like just as you're going through, make sure that you can read like the animation, and you're getting like the mouth shapes and the shape of the head separated from like the rump of the body here.
Okay.
Same thing with the kid. Like I feel you have this light coming from behind, so I think you can put some light, like wrap it around more on this side.
Right. Okay.
And then over here you'll have like a bright window, and so the bright on dark will work. Right now I'm getting the sense that this is like extremely red, like all the way across. Like if I just look at like your like red channel versus like pretty much the other ones, it's like you're really red dominant here.
Right.
I think that you'll get a better reaction on this image here of it being red if you kind of like
make it more like red, a morning, less sunset and more of like a cool color.
Yeah, it's like I think the light coming in is fine, but like the interior fill that you have seems like it needs to just be desaturated. So if you let's see if let's just try to do. So if I just take down like your red a little bit, I also have to like bring down some of your greens. And then like obviously it's taking the red out of here, but like, when you compare it, you get like a much more neutral kind of look. And I know this is like leaning green, but then when you kick that red in, I think you'll get like a really nice contrast. Introduce a color that isn't there. So we'll really feel it. And then when you come back to this, you'll just come back to like a normal setup. So I think the gag will play really well here.
Do you think, because you were talking about having something block the light, because I was thinking of having as the dog approaches, like the daylight kind of like fade out, and then the bright light or the red kind of fade in, so it's like a transition as he talks. Do you think it would be better to just have the daylight go completely away and just the red light pops up?
Yeah, I think like these types of effects, sometimes you can just get away with like like a fakey kind of light just for the moment. I just feel like this light is so dominant. It's such a main source for you that if you don't have a reason for it to go dark, it'll just feel like artificial. Sometimes I've seen people do things like like a cloud's passing through, and so it's like a slow loss of light. So it really depends on your timing with the animation and how you want to play it. If you want to do like a snap to red, say like a car passing by or something like that would be helpful. If you're okay with something gradual, you could do like a cloud as well.
Cool.
But it's a good start, and yeah, I'm curious to see where this one goes.
Cool. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
One thing, can I just say one thing? I was noticing that it's supposed to be sunlight, so maybe put the spotlight further away so that it doesn't so that the light rays are more parallel and not like going away from each other.
That's a good observation. You'll definitely have to do that to like get some proper shadowing in here. Anyway, like if your light is right there, you won't really be able to do that. But yeah, moving it away as far as possible will help you. And in addition to that, what you could do is you can throw in like a rec light right at the source, so that you get not only the sunlight rays coming through, but like a soft wash.
Right.
That'll be like really, really low level. Help you with like just an ambient level of light coming in as well. That's a great observation.
Thanks, guys.
So the next one we'll move on to is this one. And so I have all the work here. So this is the latest. This is what you had before. And these notes were kind of given to you from Mike. So I kind of like everything you did them. And then this is your reference. I'm just going to say that like whenever you're dealing with reference, that's kind of like this. Is this from Arcane? Is this looks kind of like Arcane? But
yep, that's Arcane.
Whenever you have, I haven't actually seen it yet, so but it looks like it. And they have these like tricks that they use a lot in that show where funny, I haven't seen the show, but I've seen a lot of reference from it. They do this thing where they're constantly like throwing cookies on faces, and a lot of the textures are painted on, so you get these like built-in values. It's like values that you can't really get through lighting alone, so it's hard to be like 100% perfect with it. But given that, I think done a great job. I'll say is that I feel like some of the value structure, I think the majority of the value is good. Things like the eyes here, I'm seeing like are really warm here, and then I get these like kind of greenish like eye whites here. I feel like they should follow the character and be this like warm color. I know they kind of read better. This like I feel like I read the eyes a lot. I feel like they're really well integrated here. So I would try to move towards like this level on the eye. Like this kind of sticks out to me. It feels different from the rest of the model. Other thing I would say is that I feel like, and this is where the style itself is helping this image, whereas like this character has a lot of curves. Like this under nose area is getting these like dark shadows, and I kind of miss them here. Like I feel like the center of the nose needs to be a little brighter, whereas this one, the whole nose area seems to be in shadow. It's really tough to match something like this because again, like they're doing a lot to get this. When I look at this, I'm seeing like values, and let's look quickly at our luminance. I feel like I see a value here, value on the cheek, a value rather, and then high value on the shoulder. And if I here, I'm getting that same kind of feeling from it. I feel like it's a little broad here. But honestly, sometimes, I talked about this yesterday, there's like diminishing returns of what you can do to make something like look better. If you showed this to me as a regular image, I would feel like it was very successful. It's really up to you how far you want to go with it. I had to like work on it one more day. I would try to maybe get the nose a little brighter, change the eyes. I think like this side of the face is okay. One of the big things I'm seeing that's different is like you're losing sprite background here, and it does help to read like the character the character's kind of dark, but you have this like slight bit of brightness back here, and it just like pops the ears out. So what you could do is push that background here to be brighter, and get the character's ear to be a little darker. It might like get you there, and I think that's really all you need. I think it's going to be hard to get any further without doing like some paint work on your character's face. But yeah, I think it's a great like exercise, and I think you got really close. I think most of your lights are like right where they should be, like size wise and brightness wise. You could probably stand to like lower this temple portion a little bit. I don't think it's a big deal. And like this hair piece here is a little bright. I think what Arcane tried to do a lot was really focus you like into the center of the character's like face, and so they always had this like darkening, sometimes even from both sides. You know, they would like darken, but this like core like T-zone. But yeah, honestly, I think it's a good attempt at like mimicking this light style. So in summation, eyes, some nose work, mainly like where the brightness is and where the darkness is, and maybe some background stuff. And then if you wanted to like, if you want to get really close, you'd have to like change, you know, the value structure of the hair a little bit here. Right. So let's move on. Is the person who's this animation here?
Yeah, I'm here. So
okay, can you just? I'm trying to like learn, you know, get to know everybody. Can you just introduce yourself and me a little bit about this piece?
yeah, so my name's Holly. So for this piece is actually I didn't do the animation. The guy was named Fabio Gabetti. Sorry, I probably saw his name. But it's basically this scene is like a mom talking to her two kids, and she's kind of telling her daughter that's on the left side off because, and biggest thing is like, oh, I'll break your leg if you ever do this again. And the kid in the back kind of gasps, and she's like, oh, just kidding, not really, and stuff. And so it's kind of set in like a late afternoon day, and so they're driving in a car kind of through a city and stuff. So
I like what you're doing. I'm getting like of Incredibles vibes from the structure of it. So it's cool. I do have some like feedback. The value structure here is like a little strange for me. Like if she's getting sunlight coming in, so sunlight should always be like your brightest source, but it looks like, you know, it looks like essentially what's happening is we're exposing for fill. But if that's the case, the exterior here should all be like blown out. So let me just, I'm gonna just, I got your work here, and I know this is probably not the best way to work on this, but I just want to show you. I'm just like adjusting some of your gamma here. Get rid of this, like I feel like I'm seeing like a wash kind of on the frame. Feel like we can like return some of your like core values. Like somehow, I don't know like what's doing that. And the other thing is like whenever you do like gamma adjustments, you know, it's gonna like up your saturation. So I'm just lowering your saturation just a tad. But right away, we're getting these like core values that are like much nicer. Like what's going on with her, where like, you know, if we check her luminance, you know, she's like featured. She's like the brightest spot except for his eyes. and that's really nice. I think though, sunlight, something I'm missing is like, where's the sunlight coming from? And I mean that in the sense like not getting like a shadow from the car coming in. I'm like, I have a shadow back here from the kid's head, and it looks like it's coming from like a window light. And then from her, I'm getting sunlight kind of hitting her screen left or screen right, sorry. But again, like I'm not seeing like a shadow line anywhere. And the whole interior of the car is a little like bright. It's like it's not wrong. It's not wrong that like the inside of a car could be this bright. I think it's fine. But again, I think it has to be to think about your exposure levels and like what's actually happening in the camera. So if you had something like this, where the sun's kind of blowing out on her face, kind of means that like you're exposing for the fill, like the shadow or like the dark side of her that's in the car. And that makes sense. Usually in car shots, that's kind of what happens. So and like you should have this like exterior stuff like blown out because everything's brighter, like exposing for like a darker thing. So like your sun's going to be blown out. This whole exterior is going to be blown out. A good reference for this is, let me see if I can. I might not be able to find it here, but let's see. I want minions too. There we go. Sorry, I don't think I'll be able to find it. But if you look at like any reference, I'll try to find some and I'll post it. If you look at a reference of like being inside a car, you'll see that like the exterior is usually like really blown out, and it's just because the inside of cars are really dark. You're not getting a lot of sky. You're not getting a lot of like other, lights. And let's return back to. You're not getting a lot of like other lights in there, and so you have to like increase your exposure to like really read the characters. So I can't really. Let me see if I can. Can't really show you what that would look like because these frames really don't support it. These like regular sRGB frames. But I'm just going to show you like the outside should look something like this, and then like inside the car, you'll get sort of like a more normal exposure level where like corners are still dark, and you're just like trying to, so you'll get like something like this for your characters, and then like your car might still be a little dark inside. So there's like 3 value structures there. It's like outside, and then inside characters, and then like the corners of your like the really dark parts of your car, including like this like top part here. It's kind of an unfortunate shader. Because it being white, it's going to get a lot more light than this like maroon. So you might want to like either change the color of this or change, either match the color of the car or find a way to, like, or make everything white, or, like you just want like a simple value structure that's going to work. Or you can set up some kind of like light linking or some kind of like nuke thing with like IDs where you just bring this down. But you just want a way to, not have this like strange value structure in your car between like the roof and the side. But in terms of like light placement and stuff like that, I think it's good. I think you understand like, featuring the characters. The reason why I'm telling you about like the shadowing, falling on her is because once you get a shadow in here on the character, we're going to be able to read it as sunlight immediately. Like now, the way it stands, it's hard to get a read of it like sunlight. It almost feels like, it could be sunlight. It could be that she just has like a really bright source. Like maybe there's a yellow truck, you know, like right next to this car, and it's getting like a bounce light. And so that's where shadows play a big role. They tell us a lot about the source. Because I'm not seeing a shadow here, I'm not really sure like where that light is coming from. So to give you an idea, let's say that I do something. So I'm just focusing on her now. But if I so it's like, if you obviously, and there's like weirdness happening because of the format issue. That's kind of why you're getting these lines. Just quickly like slapping this together here. Here we go. So, just right away, I'm feeling like that sunlight is coming in through some source, and it's just because I'm getting like a shadow coming in from the top of the car and the car door. So I think like that'll help you. Obviously, want to keep the shadow away from her eyes as she's acting. Keep it like up here, and I think that'll help you a lot. And then whenever you have like lights coming from other sources, like the light's coming from the outside in, and it's hitting this kid, and this is like skylight. You shouldn't have such a sharp shadow back here. So all your shadows need to be like going the same direction. Like the sunlight should come in and give you like a single solitary like shadow that comes through, and then all the other lights in your scene need to be like much softer. They can be like, you can have like a secondary hard shadow, but there needs to be a reason, like multiple small lights or something like that in your scene. That's when that is. But like highlight's a really big ambient source, so like that should be like a really soft back here. So just going from like something like this, something like this, again, like it looks silly, right? Because we're just putting like weird shapes in your frame. Just putting like really strange shapes in your frame, but you can see that like it has an effect on like how you read like the lights that are coming in. So I would, as an exercise, what I would do is look at your frame and like go through your lights one by one and see like what each of them is doing, and see if like just visually that like just by looking at it, if you can like, and like what that light is, meaning like if you look at your sunlight, like does this read as sun? If no, then why? And it's like, oh, because we don't have like any shadows. or there's no like directionality, or it's too dim or something like that. Like that'll always help you to isolate each of your lights and go through to find like where the problems might be. So something like this, where you have a shadow or a light coming in this way and casting a shadow, and then another one that's coming in through the other side and casting one. You'll be able to see that when you isolate, and then you can be like, oh, okay, I have two lights coming in, casting shadows in opposite directions. So, in summation for this one, I think more overexposed exterior, like some kind of like shadow or like some kind of like way that we can tell that like where your sunlight is coming from. Softer like fill sources so that we don't get secondary shadows, and then I think your fill structure is fine. So like if I go back to this one, like I think this fill is like fine for the exposure you're going for, the character, this one specifically. So once this like sunlight starts to look like sunlight, I think it'll play well. Can I ask like where this light actually is in space?
Yeah, so she for hers it's like coming from the screen right and stuff, and it's a lot farther. Both of them are both pretty far off and stuff. In the background, the key light's actually coming from the left side, but in past feedbacks I've gotten where I've been told, like, because like when you're in a car you're getting bounce lights for both of them, so I've actually have like two key lights coming in, like again on the boy it's coming in from the left side, and on the woman it's coming from the right. So
yeah, and that's not wrong, like to get two key lights. It's just that like one of them should be, one of them's your sunny side, and then one of them's from the sky, so the lights have to feel different. They're not both same structure or the same color. Like the boy should be getting like a sky fill, which is going to be like white or bluish, something like that. Like, and then on this side, you're going to be getting that. You're still going to be getting that blue, so you can actually institute like a blue kick on the character's hair or something like that. But if the sun's coming in from the front right, you're going to be getting in like that majority of like sunlight coming in. You'll be able to tell the difference between those two sides. On the exterior, I feel like you really can't tell. I mean, you won't be able to tell once it's like blown out if you do decide to go that way.
So for the shot, then should I change like where the main source of the? I mean, I'm going to keep the background the same and just overexpose it and stuff. But should I change the main key source then for it to be on the right side then versus the left? Because right now it's supposed to be on the left.
I don't. That to me isn't as big a problem. Like that, the sunlight, because if you overexpose something, anybody will really be able to tell. Like like at a moment's notice. Like if you expose down, you will be like if you were giving like HDR frames, then it would be a problem because you'd be able to tell shadows exterior coming from screen left and then shadows on the character coming from screen right. If you're just doing like regular sRGB frames, P3 frames, you'll be fine. So I think you can just keep it. But I would keep it this way because she's your main focus as far as I saw in the in the shot. I'd want that like sunlight to be on her, and the boy should be like that secondary skylight should be what's like filling him in.
Okay. So, right.
Sometimes like it's weird. Like I've seen stuff like this before, and I mean like this type of like sun structure, and I'm just curious, like, you getting like really soft shadows coming in from there, or that window to the car like really tall?
Yes, it is. They are very soft shadows and stuff.
Okay.
So and it.
So I think. So I was just gonna say, I think like your sun shadows should always be like hard. Like the line. You should see a line there. Not like a super like CG hard line, but you should see a shadow line coming across your character. If there's something there, like generally the shadows from the sun, so you don't want them to be soft. That light should be like small and like really pointed if you're using like a spotlight. Be like far away, tiny, and the shadows should be relatively like harsh on the character.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it's looking good. I think a lot of your values there. You just need to like um, refine some stuff. Like I think this one, like your original that you have here, is like a little washy. Like it feels. Like
I actually have like a windshield kind of in the front of it that should I just get rid of the windshield and just see the interior of the car and stuff?
I think you can. Yeah, I was actually watching it and I saw those like light shapes like move up through it, and I thought it was a little distracting for your animation, like for the character read. I know they do it in film sometimes, but I feel like they have a good way to keep it to the edges. So like on this shot, it was like coming up much over her face. If you want to keep that in, you can like keep it on the edges. Yeah, I would just get rid of the windshield completely and just, like return to your like regular value structure.
Okay.
I think that'll be better.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing this because I think you have a good start here. So. And then we have this one here. So cool. So going by yesterday, we were saying how like it's kind of hard to read the main character. Like we weren't getting like a good sense of like what was going on. So I think you did a lot here to sort of get us to that point. Let me. So I think like now what you can start doing is or adding some like more lighting onto these like pieces, like some more kick light onto these guys, so that we get like a backside and a front side. Like a left side and a right side. You want to feel some sort of shaping in like each of these. So that could be like this bounce that you have coming from the wall is nice. You could probably like increase that value a little bit. Same with this one, like if it's just bounce light coming in. But I think that like across the board, you can do that. And so now's like when you can like play with other things too, like you put like maybe like a little volume up here coming through. You can make it like hazy, like a little hazier in here. That might help to lower some of these like really dark darks that you have in relation to like the rest of the lighting. The things I would probably do for her arm is maybe like remove some of that bounce light. You can see this like curvature that you're feeling here. Probably increase the key or hand or arms, that we see that a little more. And then for this side here, and you'll get a play of like dark and a bright, like rim on the hand, and then like a darker section here. I think that'll help you in the long run to like really feel like hand area. I think it's like such an important part. You need to like separate that from the background a little bit and get that reading. Like if you look at what's going on to these flowers in her hands, like there's two separate lighting situations going on here. Like whatever's happening with the hand and whatever's happening with the flowers. And I just think like that needs to be worked together and brought closer together. So if the flowers are in sunlight, then so should the hand. Should like come out so we can read it against like this ground here. Yeah, like there was actually a good reference. Let's see, it's a really good reference. I don't want you to like copy what's happening here. So don't, is this one where like you can feel like a right side and a left side, where you can just feel like the sunlight hitting like one side of the flowers, and then the other side is dark. I think that get back to this. I think that you can actually do that same thing here, where like we can feel like a bright side here, especially, and then like a dark side. So here and here, you could introduce like a bright right and bright left, and then same thing here, like a little bounce from it. So I think what you can do is kind of like in some of the ones that are on the interior, the right side of this white one could be maybe a slight, like a tad darker without it getting too muddy. And the right side could be like a warm, it's from here. I like the way everything on the ground's playing now. Like you don't have this like bright on dark that you were having before. All of this stuff is looking really nice, and I feel like we're getting to the crux, like where we should be. Where it's like we're looking at her. I think you also need to make like all the flowers look really pretty around her. Yeah, in summation, I think it's like the hand and the arm, and the right side and the left side. These flowers here, like make it like that light is like emanating from her and like lighting all the flowers that she's touching. Could be like a really nice way to go. But yeah, the hand value here in relation to that flower, I think once you realize what's happening there and you get that light in, you'll see that it'll sit in so nicely. And the other thing you can do if you feel like it's missing something from somewhere is like probably I see you have like a cool light, somewhere back there. You probably even introduce that over here if you want to. But I would worry about that later. Get the value structure of like her and this like light like bouncing off of her onto these flowers first, and then you can actually deal with this stuff in other ways. We can even like at this side or even throw in another light over here. So it's up to you, like how you want to deal with this side of the frame, because the light that's coming from her really won't reach all the way to here. You'll have to figure out some other like structure, play with it to like make this side of the frame work. But yeah, see if like what you can do with a little bit of haze in here, or like a volume, and see what you can do with like those flowers and getting shaping on that whole cylinder of flowers that exists on each side of it. Yeah, I think it's a huge improvement from yesterday because even though it's not there yet, I feel like I'm finally like seeing the character. Whereas yesterday, I just felt like I was just, getting lost in all the detail. Yeah, good job of like turning this around. Let's see. And then we had this piece here. So I wanted to go back and
Hi guys.
Hey,
I just came to say hi to everyone.
how are you?
Hello.
I'm good, Christo.
Great. So here we are. I'm talking about this one again because yesterday that recording didn't really work out. So I want to record it again so that we can give it to the person who was working on this. One of the things I was saying is like viewing the reference. I feel like what we're getting is a lot of like light and a lot of dark. I think one of the things we need to do is sort of begin to get there with like the value structure. Like right now, I'm seeing like one light, and it should be like coming down and hitting these characters, forming like a pool of light. I imagine that like there'd be like some more like fog or just some more natural like glow coming out of here. So something like this, like see how wide some of this like flaring and haze goes. So I expect to see something like that coming from there. As it stands, like it doesn't look like it's bright enough. Like I feel like it should be hotter in there, and the color should go from like a hot the way to like a warmer color out here. So kind of generally how bulbs work, especially when you're lighting them. It's like if you look at this one real close, it's like you have your hot bulb and the color kind of emanates out from there. So you get like the orange after that. This one, I feel like we're not getting, like it should be hotter in here, like almost white, and then the orange, the light actually emanating from that light should be like a haze that's coming down from here. I think like that's the first thing that needs to be taken care of. Is like how this light interacts with them. So like I think in these cases it's like one light won't actually work for everything you're trying to do. So this is a good case where you're going to start doing some light linking. So you'll take this light and you'll cast it maybe on your set because that's great, but you'll keep it off your characters because it's really harsh. What you'll want to do is like place a light here for her and cast it on her, and place a light over here and cast it on him. And you'll get this like light that envelops both of them. You can see that the light's like both of them, and it'll look a lot nicer. It'll be softer. And I know like small bulbs, they should cast hard shadows, but like we're not going for photoreal. We're going for like something that's pleasant. So that's kind of what I would do. I would really focus on these characters, make them look nice. So, and one of the ways we do that in character lighting is to like really soften those shadows. Like the form is like more pleasing. It's like the more harsh shadows you have, it looks like a horror movie. Like that's kind of like a trick of like horrors, like hard shadows. But you don't want that in this case. You want something like cozy. So when I look at this, I don't really see many hard shadows on your faces or anything like that. Like in fact, everything is like really soft. So like take that as a reference to like produce some softness to the whole frame. You see some hard shadows here, but honestly, like that doesn't matter. It's like I'm just looking at like what's happening with the characters. I want them to be like nice and soft and readable. Yeah. Next thing I would do is this background here. I just think it's really not working. The more I thought about this today, the more I think like you'd be better off just sticking like a wall here with pictures than you are with a window where all you see behind the window is a brick wall. It's not working for like the frame. Like it's not saying anything. It's not doing anything for you. just had pictures behind them, or like maybe even some like a wall with like 2 sconce lights here, you can really approach, this lighting where you have like a nice big sconce light. You can see like it's giving him this like nice like rim, giving her like a nice little lighting. You can do more with like a wall there. Like it's just a solid wall with some art in the background and like a light on each side. Like this window will give you. Like I just did this like quick mock-up, and you can see like, this is like horrible. I just did it with like rotos and like I just wanted to do something quickly. But you can see that like blocking out that color kind of gets rid of all that like noise back there. It's rid of like gets rid of like all the distraction, and then all we're left is like the 2 characters. So I really suggest like switching this to a wall instead, and maybe doing something nice with like lighting and sconces to like help you get more light in there. So this like pocketed look, this like pocket lighting, and then like really push that like dark, but also like spotlit kind of look that this one has. So yeah, I think that'll be the biggest bang for your buck. It's just like getting rid of that wall. Because honestly, when I look at this, the thing I'm looking at is like light, characters, and then I just fixate on this like exterior here. I just feel like it's not doing you any favors. So. And so that's all I have. Does anyone have any like questions or did I like not cover anybody's work? Miss anything? Bring the video back on. Yeah, if you have any questions about like any of the stuff I talked about, or like if you want to like re-look at one of your shots, if you have any questions about what I said, please let me know. Otherwise, we can just call it. Or if you have any questions about anything, lighting wise, otherwise we can end for the day. So yeah, thanks for coming, and hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow then. Same time, since it seems like no one's complaining yet. But really, feel free to that this time doesn't work for you. If it's like 2 a.m, I'll try to find some other time.
Cool. Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow then.
See ya.